Hi guys, ni hao. This is Sezar, coming from Istanbul Agop company. I am the international sales manager of the company, also responsible for Asian market. So I'm in China today. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure, definitely.
Gone away to a place where you never grow.
Okay, thank you for asking this question. So Istanbul Agop started with the Agop actually. And Agop is the founder of the company. And when he was 9 years old, he started to work in the Old K factory in Istanbul. It was the only cymbal factory in Turkey back then. And he was helping the big guys who were making the cymbals in the factory. He was giving water, he was helping them to carry out some equipments for them. So at the age of 9, he started to work there, and he got all the information in the process. And when he was 17 years old, actually, he was ready to hammer a cymbal, and he knew all the information how to make cymbal from A to Z. So at the age of 17, he was hammering the cymbals, and a few years later, he was the master smith of the company. And he led the production of the company. Then in 1977, the Old K factory was shut down in Turkey, and they moved all the equipments and the production to the States. So it was only Agop now, and he said, it is the only business I know, so what can I do? In 2 years, he did some odd jobs. For example, he delivered some newspapers and stuff like that. And then after 2 years, he said, no, I should do my job, I should make some handmade cymbals and continue the business. So in 1979, he purchased some of the leftover equipments from the factory and the old equipment, and he started to make his own handmade cymbals. And he was only doing the cymbals for the local artists in Turkey and for some few drum shops. And the name of the company back then was Zilciler. Zilciler means cymbal makers, but it was very close to the other company, so he had to change it to Istanbul. So the story of Istanbul cymbals started in 1979. And there's a very important point here. If Agop hadn't decided to continue this, making this handmade cymbals, today we would have no handmade cymbals maybe, because everybody who's doing cymbals now in Turkey learned from him. He trained a lot of people, and they opened their small workshops after that. So he's the real deal, I can say. And in 1980, officially, Istanbul Cymbals Company was founded. And when we come to 1982, it was the first name show for Agop and the Istanbul Agop company, Istanbul company back then. By the way, he had a partner, and later on they split, and company continued as Istanbul Agop name by Agop's sons, which are my two bosses today, Arman and Sarkis. So in 1982, they shipped to America the handmade cymbals after a gap of many years of lack of hand-hammered cymbals in the States. When Mel Lewis saw the handmade cymbals in the NAMM show, he said a very important sentence. He said, "They are back." What he meant by that was the real handmade cymbals, the real complex sound, the cymbals that have personality are back again in the market. So it was a turning point for Agop, and Mel Lewis became the first official endorser, international endorser of the company. And after 82, a lot of great names came to the company, became endorsers like Elvin Jones, Jack DeJohnette, Art Blakey, Billy Higgins, and many more. So it was great years. Unfortunately, in 1996, Agop passed away in a tragic accident. And then the split happened, the partners split, and he founded his own company. But Agop's sons, which had joined the company in 84 and 86, continued the business as Istanbul Agop, and today Istanbul Agop is the number one company, biggest company in quality, in production and amounts and quantities, and worldwide presence.
Gone away.
Exactly, that's correct. We still use the same alloy, which is the B20, and we still do the handmade symbols. Of course, we have to adjust ourselves to the trends of the world. That's why we have another symbol series called Exist, which is not totally handmade. We give the profile, we call it preformed. We give the profile by the machine, but the alloy is the same. We do the casting with the B20 alloy, but just give the profile by the machine, and then we hammer the symbol, which helps us have a more budget level symbols, because in order to provide much more symbols to the market, you have to do this kind of symbols as well. But I would say it's another symbol who has a high quality like the other handmade symbols, but the handmade symbols are the real deal, and we still continue to do it.
So, which model of your Istanbul Agop is 100 handmade?
I would say all the signatures, traditional, custom, and the 30th anniversary, well, actually we put it in the signature series. They are all handmade because they are the high-end symbols, and you cannot risk to do by machine, and then people will understand, oh, this is not handmade anymore. It's not Istanbul Agop anymore, because this is our reputation. We have symbols which have complex and rich musical overtones, and people love it, because when you have an Agop symbol, you have your own sound, and your own sound only. This is a great richness, you know, for a musician. So all the high-end symbols are handmade, but we do Exist line, which is semi machine and semi hammered.
Gone away to a place where you never.
Actually, you know, we make symbols. This is the only thing we do, and we make good. We try to make good symbols. But the world today, the drummers today, demand different sounds than symbols sometimes. So we opened our ears to some drummers' ideas, and we say, okay, we should do some sounds from our B20 alloy. So actually, these symbols started with an idea of some metals that have odd surfaces, different hammering technique, very thin and trashy sound, which would give very much effective sound to your drumming. And we came up with this idea. We wanted to be to look very handsome. I think they look handsome and beautiful. And the big hammer gives the cymbal, especially a thin cymbal, a very trashy sound. And I think this is not only a cymbal that you can play just a mainstream music. This can be added to your setup as a effect cymbals, additional stack kind of to your music. And this series actually is a modular series. For example, you can put a 17-inch crash on top of a 17 bottom hi-hat, and you can make a triple hi-hat, as you did here. Almost,
yes.
Yeah.
Almost.
So it gives you another kind of great sound. So you can try and find your own sound in these cymbals.
Gone away.
Well, yes, we collaborate with a lot of artists, and as you know, we do have a lot of signature series. But my bosses, of course, from their father, have a lot of knowledge of making cymbals. Combining them with the ideas of our artists, we sometimes do different cymbals, change the technique of the hammering, you know, stuff like that. We integrate these ideas on the new cymbals. So yes, we do that. And our distributor in whole China is Huai Music. So guys, it's been a pleasure to be here and to talk with you and with Birch. Thank you for having us here, me and Jonathan. And please stay tuned with us. You can follow us on all our social media. We are on WeChat, Facebook, Instagram, we're everywhere. Stay tuned.